Hello everyone, the Kentucky Patriot here. I don't mean to be redundant, but I do want to revisit a topic that I've already made one video on, and it's about carrying one in the chamber. And if you mention to me that you carry one in the chamber, I'll simply tell you to train with it. If you tell me you don't carry one in the chamber, I will simply tell you to train with it. So this isn't a video to try to convince you one way or the other. This is just simply to maybe inform you and maybe go into a little more detail, because there's things I'm seeing on the internet that or on YouTube that are trying to push one way or the other, but they're not really given an accurate portrayal of both styles, depending on either one. I guess what I'm trying to say is they're not giving a fair analysis of the techniques, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a minute. But here's the thing: there's pros and cons of both. Okay, there's some things that we teach that it can only be one way. There's just certain things, they're just certain ways to do things that are correct, and there's others that maybe there's pros and cons, or things people like or don't like. So if you carry one in the chamber, okay, there's obvious pros to that. Speed is one, and we all know, and I know there's people that thinks that maybe there's a certain gun or there's manufacturers that don't fail. Well, that's false. You actually need to know how to clear a malfunction, because anything man-made can fail. Well, the pros and the big advantage to carry one in the chamber is you have one in the chamber. So usually when a gun malfunctions, it'll be when you chamber it or when it feeds, and it'll be a failure to feed or whatever. But when you carry one in the chamber, you at least have one shot. And we've talked about the knockdown power or lack thereof in handgun calibers. So one shot may not totally neutralize the threat, but one shot will sure give you the advantage. Okay. And if you don't carry one in the chamber, I know the NRA makes purses, and there's a lot of other people makes purses for women, and a lot of women that are around kids maybe choose not to carry one in the chamber, because even if their kids know not to bother a gun, and let's say they're you have to set their purse down in the restroom or something, or they have to set their purse down in the floor under the pew at church, and they're afraid if they get up and whatever, just let's just say for whatever reason a woman doesn't feel safe carrying a round in the chamber, and she puts it in her purse. I'm not saying that's wrong either. You just got to decide. There's pros and cons whether you carry one in the chamber or whether you don't. But here's the thing: if you do carry a purse, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but all I'm saying is being aware. I'm not for or against it. Again, this is all your decisions. You just need to know the pros and cons and think about the consequences and what may be good, what may not be. Because the only problem with carrying in a purse is, one, it's not on your person. So most of the time, if you get attacked or if you get mugged, the thing they're going for is your purse. So if you lose your purse, then you've lost your means of protection. So, but back, I digress. But back to the carrying one in the chamber. You need to know the pros and cons of both. Now, the military carries one in the chamber. Law enforcement carries one in the chamber. And there's a reason for it, because it does take time to chamber one. And again, I'm not for or against. I think both can be done effectively. But the problem I see is that the folks on YouTube, on the internet, what they'll do is they'll say, now we're going to time the draw and see which one's faster. And one draw, they'll come up and they'll draw, and they'll come out and they'll fire. They'll come back, and they'll look at their time and say, okay, whatever the time is. And then the next one, if they carry it on an empty chamber, they'll draw, come up, stop, get totally out of stance, then rack the slide chamber around, then come up and shoot. Well, it's 2 or 3 times as long. So they say, well, see, that's why the speed is so much closer, but that's not an accurate assessment at all. And I seen this with my own eyes. Again, we say in all our videos, we're not here to attack anybody or try to belittle anyone, but I actually seen a guy do this on the internet. He actually drew his weapon, come all the way out with one hand. I think it was one hand. I can't remember if it was one hand or two. Then he come all the way back chambered around it, whether you want to do the slingshot or, like this, but chambered the round and then come back. So I thought, you didn't do that with, with the draw. You didn't come back and then shoot. So why would you come up, punch out, come back, then chamber one, and then come back and shoot and then draw? It doesn't make sense. It's not a fair assessment. Now, excuse me, when you go to chamber round, any action you put in extra is going to take more time. We understand that. So I'm not arguing the fact it's not going to be faster. But if you don't carry one in the chamber, you don't carry around in the chamber, here's the thing. Most, I guess all instructors that I know of basically teach the draw the same way. So everybody I know anyway, usually your hand comes up just like this, okay? It's one motion, it's not this, or it's just quick. When you come up, you rotate the gun here, okay? Now, this is very important, okay? Because if you're not careful, what we find is people doing this, and they come up like this. Well, if that's the case, and you come up like this, you can't fire, you can't defend yourself until right now, okay? And if somebody gets to you before you get your hand up, they can actually stop you from being able to get on target. And the same way with the draw, if you come up this way, and a lot of people will get on target, but then they'll do one of these. Well, it's the same principle. You're not on target till about right now. Okay, that's too long, especially if somebody's coming up on you. They can prevent you from getting on target. So what we do is, when we come up like this, and we rotate, our hands, look how close they are together. So if you don't have a round chambered, now's the time, on your way out, it's not an extra motion, it's just on your way out, you chamber one, and then you punch out. You can see I'm unloaded, that's why the slide locked back. But again, you come up, just like this, and when you turn, your hand's right here anyway. So then you rack one and come on out in one fluid motion like that, okay? It's not a stop, up here, come out, stop, pause, it's just not that at all. It's up here, up, out, okay? Now, the problem with that is, and again, I'm not telling you how to or not to carry. I'm just telling you that the cons of that, though, is, though you can do it super fast, and it's just about as fast. I mean, it's not a second or two difference, it's a split second difference. The problem, though, in self-defense is there's a lot of situations in life where seconds matter. This isn't the case. This is split seconds matter. And if you've ever been in a situation where you had to draw your firearm, you know what I'm talking about. It's very fast, it's very quick, it happens just like that. You don't have time to prepare, you don't have time, it's usually very quick. So if somebody's on you and you come up like this to draw, and they're on top of you and you're trying to rack the slide and you're trying to do it back here, you're in trouble. And even if you do come out here and you rotate and you're getting ready to push out, you can't fire from here, okay? When they're on top of you, you can't fire until you actually get that round in the chamber. And here's why it's very important to come out and rotate your gun quick, is because if I get attacked right now and I'm carrying one in the chamber, this is the big advantage to me of carrying one in the chamber, and somebody attacks me, I can actually still fire from this position right here. I can defend myself, and I can actually fire from right here. Sure, we all like to have our front sight focus, it's side alignment, but let's face it, in a really quick, out of the blue self-defense, and somebody cut, is on you really fast, you can actually fire from this position right here, okay? And again, if we have a malfunction, when most of the time the malfunctions occur is when you try to chamber that round. And even if your gun's working properly, you maintain your guns, everything's fine. The problem is, like we've said in other videos, you don't get to pick the time. It could be raining, it could be cold, and let's say it's raining or you're hot and sweaty, and you go to chamber that round like we talked about the correct way, and you're doing it the correct way where speed's not that much of an issue. It's really not. So when you draw, you come up like this, and you rotate. When you go to chamber this round, let's say your hand slides just a little bit, and we all know if the slide don't go back far enough for that round to enter that feed ramp, you're going to have a malfunction. And, like I said, if the gun malfunctions and you still get one shot off, that one shot may not, totally eliminate the threat, But boy, that'll sure turn the tide in your favor. It'll sure help you. It'll sure, like I said, it'll take the wind out of their sails. You get shot press contact in center mass with a 40 caliber or 45 or 357 SIG. I believe it's a definite game changer. Like I said, it may not completely neutralize them, but I believe it'll get them off of you, that's for sure. At least give you a chance to break contact and get away. So again, if you carry one in the chamber, that is your advantage. It's speed somewhat, but like I said, I think it's been misconstrued many times in videos. But when you come up like this, all right, ready? Get a good grip on the gun. Make sure you get a good grip when you come up. And then when you come like this, instead of punching out and coming back, you just rotate the gun, and then as you're pressing out, then you rack the slide and get on target, okay? But again, the big advantage, I think, of carrying one in the chamber is when you rotate, you can actually fire from this position. So even though you're up here like this, when you come up, if they're on you, you can actually defend with this hand instead of having to try to rack the slide or worrying about not getting the slide all the way back. So you can defend from this and shoot from this position, okay? And I know everybody likes to have a certain stance, which that's fine with the range. That's fine if you're shooting a 3-gun challenge, but in self-defense, you may be on the ground. I mean, you may get hit. You may, so it's good to train. It is good to have a certain technique, but I think it's also good to run and move and realize you're not always going to be able to stand in the isosceles or the weaver or the modified isosceles. You may be walking, so be able to get to your gun, draw, and get on target. And if you carry one in the chamber or if you don't, it's something to think about. And I do want to say this too. I do believe in training. I believe there's certain steps that, it's good to, put 2 rounds and 2 rounds and 2 rounds. And I know where I come from, the military, they usually call it a double tap. But the problem is with a double tap, not to make this video too long, but they're usually talking high-powered rifles, okay? And they're usually a quick 2 shots and a quick 2 shots. Again, we're talking handgun calibers, not rifle calibers. And, most of the time the multiple assailants are usually minimized. So here's the thing: if there is multiple assailants, you got to decide how you're going to do it. So it's good to go to the range if you want to practice on 2 shots, 2 shots, 2 shots. But some people are so focused on 2 shots, even in a self-defense situation, they'll come out and boom, boom, 2 shots, and they're ready to go back to the holster. Well, the thing is, I have never said 2 shots. I have never said double tap. Because we don't know the situation, we don't know clothing. This is what we believe with all of our heart. When you come up and you draw, and if you have to use your firearm to defend your life, we don't say 2 shots. We say until the threat is neutralized. Okay, if that takes 5 shots, so be it. And when I say neutralize, I mean where they can't draw their weapon, where they can't continue to attack you. So we do not teach double tap. So if you go to the range and you're so used to boom, boom, and then reach on boom, that's fine for training, but realize those skills are trying to teach you something. That's not necessarily what is best in a self-defense situation. So again, I'm not telling you it's best to carry one in the chamber. I'm not telling you it's best not to carry one in the chamber, because again, if you've got small kids, or if you're a woman and maybe you're at a school that allows a person to carry, and you're afraid that if it's off your body, like I said, or because there's private schools that allow that, or if you're maybe like I said, a mother, and you've got several kids, and you've got kids' friends over, and you don't know who's all going to be in your house. I know it's like, well, they're irresponsible with the gun. No, we need to be responsible with the gun, but this may be in the back of your mind. You're thinking, my kids know how to handle a gun. My kids know firearm safety, but I don't know who's all going to be, or like I said, at church, and you don't carry one in the chamber. I'm not saying you're wrong, but just know the pros and cons. But thinking that speed would be the only factor whether to carry one in the chamber or not to carry one in the chamber, I don't think that is that big of an issue. I really don't, because you can train either way and really minimize that just about to where it's non-existent. But there is other things, like I said, not getting one into the chamber, if your hand slips, or not being able to fire from this position. So I'm not for or against it. I'm just telling you there's pros and cons on both sides. But I just wanted to show you that more of an accurate detail than people coming out and drawing and stopping and then trying to rack the slide, because that's not how you would do it, even if you don't carry one in the chamber. But just something to think about, something for you to try. It's a very serious situation, and I think so many people think it'll never happen to me. But as you see in my videos, somebody broke in my house in broad daylight. We had actually had to pull our firearm in the video, the importance of consistent carry. And I hope and pray it never happens to you. But in the event that it does, and the one thing I do not under any circumstances recommend is people sometimes carry one in the chamber and sometimes they don't. In the event that you need it and it's a quick, you can run into real trouble, come up with a dead trigger, or come up and rack another round in there and there's already a round in there. You can run into problems that way. So just something to think about. I'm not trying to persuade you anyway, but like I said, know the pros and know the cons, and we tried our best to give you a fair assessment of either way. And there's other pros and cons too. We feel like we try to hit the highlights. So I hope this helps you. If you have any comments, any experiences you've had in this, what you feel, just leave your comments below. But as always, keep it family friendly. May God bless you. We appreciate everyone that's watching. We thank you for your comments. We certainly appreciate you taking the time to watch and comment. May God bless you. The Kentucky Patriot signing off.